This time I got a Sony EVC100 Hi8 deck in for service. This one here, the complaint is it jammed a tape and the customer removed it and now it won't load. So we're going to see why this isn't working and see if we can get it working. This time I've got a Sony EVC100. Complaint on this one is that it won't load the tape. And I guess the tape got stuck in it and the customer took it apart to remove the tape. And now it won't load any tape. So let's just see what may have happened. Now he did say he removed the tape using motors. Or if he just put a power supply to one of the motors here. Anyway, let's just see what it does. That's it. It comes out. I don't hear the loading motor even attempting to start up. I wonder if the connections are any good back here. I didn't check the voltage on it, but I'll just take a close look at those. Does that solder look okay on that motor? I had one recently that the solder had broken on the motor. I'm going to resolder that. I'm going to resolder this loading motor, see whether that makes any difference. See this on the red wire there, that just... Oh, this just doesn't look very good, does it? Like maybe it's crystallized. So we'll just put some heat on there and some Alright, let's see if we get anything different happening this time. I noticed that the head drum spun up this time too, and it didn't before. But that may have been that the loading motor didn't start to move and it didn't kick the mode switch. I wonder if it's just that, or whether there's a problem. Maybe the mode switch is bad. It might not hurt to clean the mode switch on this. But it seems to be working now. And that's all I've done is just tack down that wires on this motor. Well, it's working. Now that I had another EVC100 last year, and it was mechanism was sticking on it, and it was all gummed up. But not this one. It was shipped in, and this is a local unit. So we may have a gummy mechanism on this one as well, but it may be mode switch. But the fact that this thing wouldn't load, and that drum wasn't turning. I wonder if the drum had stuck. I mean, it's nothing. It's not sticking to anything, so I don't know what happened there. But all I've done is just solder those wires on. I'm curious as to whether there's anything on the mechanism here that's starting to act up, like the pins that lock the guides into position. These have a tendency to work their way loose and get jammed. see if the pins move when I push on them. What tends to happen is these little keeper pins here that lock the guides into the loading arms, these tend to work their way loose. See if it'll move. Doesn't appear to move. At least that one doesn't appear. How about this one? Oh, they're tight. That guide is loose. That should not turn like that. This one's tight. But this one's loose, so this is going to need an alignment on it for sure. Sometimes this little collar starts to slip up too. And the grease should really be redone on here because it's the old black grease that tends to get kind of gummed up after a while. Well, this one was used for flying missions. I'm going to pull the deck out on this one. I want to clean that mode switch, and we're going to lubricate the chassis. The machine lifts right out. A couple of edge connectors that come out on the side here. And that's it. The whole machine just lifts right out. We'll flip out the board. There's one screw that needs to come out over here. And the mode switch on this one is underneath here. It's actually it's right over here. So I'm going to pop out this edge connector. Undo that one. And this one. And this one. So I can flip the board out of the way. I'll just loosen off a couple of screws. I don't want to take off any more than I have to. Just enough to get to where the mode switch is so that I can give it a shot of cleaner. It's right under here. So we're going to give that a shot of cleaner. And then I'll lubricate the mechanism. That should do it. It's not showing symptoms that it's bad. That's why I'm not too concerned about taking the switch all apart. There's some cleaner in there to clean and lubricate it, and then operate it a few times, and that should help clean it up. Redo this connector as well, just in case this is why the drum didn't start. So we'll just pull the connector off the back of the drum and we'll just reseat this connector. Just in case that's why the drum didn't spin up. Went out for dinner tonight to one of my favorite Italian, or no, it's a Greek restaurant actually, that I've been going to for years. And brings me my dinner and comes up and asks me whether I'd like a refill on my drink. It was just a Diet Coke that I was getting. And I said, sure, I'll get a refill. And then when she brought me the bill, she charged me an extra $4. I said, pardon? Oh, we don't give free refills anymore. Well, I guess I won't be giving a good tip tonight then either, and I might not be coming back again. Because a small glass and then another small glass, $8. It's like, are you kidding me? Usually I order and just pick up from there. But tonight I felt like going in rather than pick it up and bring it home. I felt like going in and eating. Normally when I go there and pick up, it's like $15. Well, it was like $27 to sit in place and get the same thing that I could have taken home for $15.50. Well, that's a discount for paying cash. They don't give you a discount when you sit in the restaurant for paying cash. You pay the full price, just like if you put it on your credit card. I didn't think that was very good, but that's the way it is. I guess everyone's trying to make a buck out there, and inflation running rampant. I'm going to get some molly coat, and we'll put some molly coat down here, and then we're going to do an alignment. I'm going to check the alignment of this, and there's a little lock screw down here that I'll just try to tighten this up a bit just so that this doesn't turn, because this one's turning really freely right now. As you can see, if I just touch this thing, it just moves. Right, so we'll just tighten down the little lock screw here so that at least there's some resistance on it. When I do set it up, it won't turn quite as easy. That's better. Snapped in now. Alright, let's plug it in and try it. Alignment looks okay, but I am going to put the scope on it to check it to make sure the RF is good. This is the guide I'm going to tweak. It is a little bit off. I'll show you the scope, as you can see, and that's, if it looks like there's AM on there, there actually is, because my AM transmitter is running. I'll kick that off, and that AM will disappear. As you can see, the RF is a little bit down. I'm just going to adjust that one guide that was loose that I've now kind of tightened and set in place to flatten off that waveform. So you make it perfectly flat. The thing that remains to be done on this is I'm going to put some moly coat onto the transport just to make sure that it stays well lubricated, and we don't need to put much on. As I say, too much grease is worse than not enough. So we're just going to put a little bit of moly coat grease onto the rails here, onto the side, on each side, and load the tape a few times. And by loading and unloading the tape a couple times, that will polish up. It'll first of all lubricate the mechanism, but it'll also polish up that mode switch. Here's my RF coming off the heads. So I think this one's good. Get a little more gain on there, you see. I'm already gained out all the way. Oh, might help if I put in calibration mode. But it's looking good. Now people ask me why I use the analog scope as opposed to the digital scope. Well, the digital scope I've got just doesn't have the resolution to do these type of adjustments. You can read at the actual carrier there. If we look at this, as the scene changes, you will actually see the carrier frequency changes. Watch it. This is the actual RF, a segment of the RF. So as the scene changes, you'll see that carrier wave will change. You see, now the scene is changing. Cool, huh? That's FM modulation on the carrier. You dial it right down and look at the individual waveform, but you'll see when the scene changes. You'll see the frequency change. As the frequency increases for the bright scenes and decreases for the dark scenes. See? Now it's got a shot that's going on there is time-lapse clouds going by. And you'll see the frequency changing. Frequency modulation. But that's how the video signal is modulated. It's FM. It's an FM carrier. No different than your FM radio signal that brings music to your radio. And in this case, that FM signal was just recorded onto tape. My DSO does not have enough resolution to display these waveforms for doing this type of stuff. That's why the analog scope is just so valuable for me. And what we look at is we look at 1/30th of a second, so we can see the full head waveform. If I were to move the guides by hand, you'll see I'll just kind of bend them. Or not bend them, but just push on them. But you see what I mean? So the idea is that waveform is kept flat, which it is. That's perfectly flat. That's pretty much a perfect waveform off the video heads. Anyway, this one is pretty much done. Take out the scope. throw this one back together. I'll say thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.